A YouTuber named Joe Shoemaker is exploring an abandoned road on Elm Street in Ohio. At the end of this overgrown dirt road is supposed to be a notorious house with a long and haunted history. The road itself is ominously closed, and they have to break the rules just to get there. After driving for a while, their headlights barely manage to illuminate the dark and collapsing exterior of a house that looks more like a creepy old shack rather than a place where any normal person would actually ever live. The front porch is an unpassable pile of broken boards and sharp wooden splinters, so John has to walk around the perimeter to find another way inside. The back entrance is a scratched up wooden door. John isn't even sure if someone still lives here or not, but he turns the rusted knob and stands in the door. The inside is barren and lacks insulation. A long ventilation duct runs completely exposed across the length of the wall. Pipes hang on strings for no reason. He hesitates for a moment and takes a single uneasy step inside. Nothing happens, so he takes another step and makes the mistake of letting down his guard.
That's okay.
Just when he feels safe, some sort of blue humanoid figure comes from the bottom of the screen and jumps him. I mean, this could just be one of his friends, but here's the thing. When you look closely at the creature that pops out in front of him, you'll see it only has a single misshapen eye. While exploring the abandoned Davutlu village, the YouTube crew from Han Kardasler find they're not alone. One woman comes out of the woodwork.
Ay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kul auzu bi rabbin nas, melikin nas, ilahin nas, müşerrin nas, vesaire.
Gelin buraya bakayım.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oğlum biri var yanında.
Gel. Gel tanıdım seni gel.
The woman leads them to this strange dark figure hiding behind a corner, but the figure disappears as they approach.
Gelin.
Sen ne yapıyorsun burada ya?
Ne yapacağım ben her yerde geziyorum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oğlum. Ne oluyor ya? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Gel.
It then reappears in the downstairs window. The mysterious figure appears only as a form, a shadow if you will. While the crazy woman tells the crew something, her silent husband stands by with his back to the camera. The figure has again vanished from sight.
Var.
Abi ne oluyor?
Bu da benim sevgilim. Gel buraya.
Şaka mı bu?
Bak yakaladım
Baksana
onu.
adama baksana kanka. Çok tuhaf çok.
Gel.
Oğlum bu kafayı yemiş ya.
Gel buraya.
Oh gidiyor.
And then the woman appears to go nuts, shooing them off and even throwing stuff at them.
Artık gidin yeter. Hadi. Hadi gidin artık.
Abi oy bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Hadi gidin artık.
Ay.
Yeter. Peşimden gidin. Gelmeyin artık.
Oh bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Adam dışarı çıktı.
Artık yeter.
After being chased around, they later see the figure in the window again.
Bayram. Orada duruyoruz. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bayram bu ne böyle ya? Kafayı yiyeceğim. Abi.
But it's not any clearer what the figure is. I have no clue what this entity may be, but it seems to me that this old woman might be protecting it from outsiders. I'm not so sure it needs her protection though. From voices to semi-transparent figures, baby monitors have been known to throw off all types of creepy vibes. This is amongst the creepiest. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, the OP writes, I'm 96% sure we caught a ghost on camera, pulling on my almost 2-year-old son's leg while he was sleeping in his crib. The scary video shows the baby lying face down in his crib, both of his legs tucked near the bars. At first, the baby's left leg looks like it's being repeatedly pulled toward and even through the bars, but this could just be the baby himself sticking his feet there. But then all of a sudden, the baby's leg is lifted upwards, beyond the scope of ordinary baby abilities. It folds and is even bent at the knee and pulled backward. The leg is then extended out, then yanked behind its other leg and pulled between the bars. It's pulled upwards and back again, bent at the knee. This is done repeatedly until the leg is yanked so far backward that it seems to wake the baby up. He throws his head back and then pulls both legs beneath him. All the while, a strange white orb roams across the screen, floating above him. Some in the comments even say it seems to move in sync with the pulling of the leg. Most Redditors are terrified in the comments. Others think the ghost may have been trying to flip the baby over, so he wasn't sleeping on his stomach. But myself and nearly everyone agrees with Redditor Malin, who writes, "Straight up the most convincing ghost video I've ever seen." Lechworth Village used to be a collection of 130 mental asylums, built 2 hours from Brooklyn, a place where unwanted people in the early 1900s New York were taken to be forgotten, never to be visited, never to be removed. Atrocities were inflicted daily upon patients unable to make sense of what was happening to them, or to defend against it. With a ratio of 3 nurses to every 80 patients, there simply wasn't enough staff to keep everyone well fed or even alive. Mealtimes were a mad scramble in which a handful of nurses had to shovel food down patients' throats, often against their will. Some didn't survive. Their bodies were branded with a number and taken to a cemetery in a nearby forest. Lechworth Village did not shut down until 1996, 85 years of suffering total. Now, after 100 years after its creation, the 130-building mega asylum has rotted down to only a few of the most haunted sites left standing. Areas full of activity that a paranormal explorer named Angelo wants to document. On March 2nd of 2020, Exploring with Angelo enters one of the only buildings left standing. Shadow figures watch from a distance as they cautiously make their way through. Apparitions who are there one moment and gone the next. And it isn't until they begin walking up the stairs that the creepy noises begin. Sounds like doors opening while both of them are standing in place.
That makes me might have been housing the war. That makes me might have been housing the war.
Or this low croak right behind them at 4 minutes and 46 seconds.
That's weird. That's weird.
Or when they get to the top and find the doors wide open leading into the dark forest. So if this door is already open, then explain this.
Wow, these things are all made of metal. This goes to a road.
The door somehow creaks open without moving. It sounds like it's being pulled open from straight ahead, and yet nothing is there. Here's the door at 5 minutes and 6 seconds when the sound happens, and here it is again at 5 minutes and 50 seconds after the sound. It's open at the exact same angle down to the degree. They didn't touch it. They step through and turn around to look at the door from outside. They turn out their light to see if they pick up anything. Sure enough, these two beady eyes reflect on the wall despite there being no lights of theirs turned on. At 6 minutes and 25 seconds, they hear and see something jump across the camera. When they turn their lights back on, it's gone. They explore a few other rooms, and when they retrace their steps, the phantom doorway opens once more.
I
just heard it again. Yeah, I heard it too. Whatever, just keep going.
The top floor is filled with hospital beds. Look what appears right as they ask a simple question out loud.
People claim they see in this place.
Shadows.
A glowing circle floats by in response, and soon a bad feeling rushes them off of this floor. But as they are leaving, they hear this noise coming from a different building, one deeper in the forest.
That's what we've been hearing.
That's what we've been hearing, but that's coming from the forest.
Angelo is walking towards the noise when it becomes evident that they are surrounded.
What?
They are looking one way when a hiss comes from the opposite direction.
I don't know.
Oh, what the was that?
Up ahead is another asylum building and more voices.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
That's where the noise is coming from.
And this large white sideways face peering at them from inside. As they walk around the perimeter, all of the commotion strangely stops. The forest is as silent as can be, but as soon as they enter the building, they hear the noise again. Something is playing with their mind. Inside is little more than room after room of decaying white wallpaper. When they reach the end of the hall, they hear heavy footsteps from where they just were. This sounds like real fear to me. At first they try to determine where the footsteps are coming from, but this is the moment they need to get out of there fast.
Ever since we got here.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
They faced their fears long enough to stop and turn around one last time to confirm they were really being followed.
Anything there?
I'd say it's pretty clear that they were. Steer clear of this swampland. It is home to prehistoric reptiles. Published by MD Starbeast in May of 2022. The YouTuber is wondering what this creature is. Surrounded by lily pads, a snake-like head protrudes from the swampland. It's very still but seems to be rising up out of the water. Is it an eel of some kind? Some obscure reptile? A water dragon? What is your theory? Klaus finds something in his basement that's so scary. He has set up multiple cameras in his basement to try and capture it on camera. All he finds is this extra creepy layer of skin dried up against the wall. Listening to the sound the skin makes when touched is enough to make me want to peel out of my own.
What in the world?
He says it's juvenile, and I'd say that's a safe bet since it can't be finished growing if it is still shedding its skin from time to time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is a big snake. And it's somewhere in my basement.
You can see where the snake used the grooves between two stones to rub off its old skin and emerge even bigger than before. A Google search reveals snakes will come into the basement through basement cracks and even through drains. If you have any plumbing hooked up down there, once they're in, the only way to get them to leave is to remove them by hand or call for help. The description says it's over 3 feet long. Assuming he measured accurately, I'd say it's time to leave this one up to the pros. Old tunnels are full of history, and often that history is fearful. Published to YouTube by IKS Exploration in March of 2017, this clip explores the abandoned Dover tunnels. According to the channel, this is one of the many tunnels bored into the ground to allow fresh spring water through without upsetting the ground above. Me and Chris don't feel good in this location. Strange sounds and hums can be heard. He also claims to have heard a voice that sounded like that of a girl. Wear your headphones to hear what they hear.
Just a...
As the pair wander through the impressive tunnels, they appear indefinite. Will the explorers make it out of here alive, or be left wandering this labyrinth for eternity? As noted, the tunnels have cracks in the linings, making them particularly dangerous. Today they are locked down and inaccessible to the public. Probably a good thing. A YouTuber named RFam is doing a gym vlog when their punching bag begins moving on its own. Slowly at first, but gaining momentum over time. So even if she pushed it herself, it should slow down over time and eventually settle down. But that's not what happens at all. She dances for almost 10 minutes and the punching bag sways back and forth the entire time. What I can't understand is how she dances so close and doesn't notice the whole time. I guess she must have really been into her routine. There's no strings attached to the piece of equipment, and aside from this explanation, I can't think of any other way she could have faked it. This medicine ball also starts moving in the exact same way with no one touching it, at least no one that I can see, and no shadows on the wall to indicate someone off camera. Again, I can't believe she walks right by, but I suppose she simply feels comfortable at home and isn't exactly looking for anything out of the ordinary. If you heard an unexplainable spine-tingling sound, would you have the guts to go investigate?
What does it sound?
Published to YouTube by Jared McLean in February of 2019, he explains that he heard this terrifying noise outside at 2 in the morning. He said that the sound started out of nowhere and reminded him of a scary movie soundtrack. The noise seemed to be occurring a few blocks away, so he went to get dressed and drove over there to investigate. But the minute he went to leave, the sound ceased. Jared said he wondered if it was paranormal or some natural phenomenon. He asked for his fellow YouTubers to chime in with their theories. Some suggest it sounds like a badly tuned orchestra. Others say someone must have set off every car alarm at once. Still others believe it could be a train's brakes being applied on a nearby railroad track. And even more claim that they've heard the same sound themselves. Nash TV Guy put in his own 2 cents writing, "There are a ton of reports from all over the world of these strange sounds, with suggestions ranging from underground bases and drilling. What they all have in common is they're scary. At least we can all agree on that much. Any clue as to what this sound could be?" The world is filled with lost radio signals from long ago. One of these many mystery stations was this broadcast from East Germany that started in the 1970s. We still don't know what it was, only that it sounded like it could drive a person to madness if they listened for long enough. Every so often, the overwhelming wall of noise would give way to a group of men singing in twisted voices. Maybe it's just me, but this almost sounds like some kind of ancient ritual or chant. The broadcast abruptly stopped in 1990 after about 20 years. Give me your best guess as to what this broadcast was used for, because I haven't the slightest clue. This video follows a Filipino ghost hunter who's exploring an abandoned hospital solo. At around 4 minutes in, as he's climbing some stairs, he hears high-pitched shouting. The Redditor who submitted this suggests its scream is that of either a child or a woman. The ghost hunter proceeds to explore the entire floor. All the while, you can hear the screeching in the background.
Narinig akong bata.
As he nears one end of the floor, traffic is heard roaring out the window. Once silence has fallen again, the screaming can be distantly heard, and then at 7:15 very clearly and nearer. The sound is terrifying, but we never find the source. What do you think it could be? My best guess is something paranormal. This person was hoping to have caught a fish on video, but instead they've caught a different creature altogether.
Bats for days. Look, he's right there. Dude, he flew right in my face.
A bat is caught on camera flying almost going into his mouth, and you can hear him spit in disgust.
Look, he's right there. Dude, he flew right in my face.
This creepy bat encounter is beyond creepy, but it should be really alarming for 2 main reasons. 1, a bat should be able to avoid people in wide open spaces with no problem, so this one was probably targeting him on purpose. 2, bats are nocturnal, so having one aggressively fly at you in the middle of the day could mean it has rabies. In other words, definitely not something you'd want to come in close contact with, especially not your open mouth. I really hope they're okay. A visit to the doctor's room for a quick medical checkup might be in order just to make sure. Published in May of 2019, Erwin Saunders captures these bite-sized creatures on camera in the mossy woods of the UK. Is this a new fairy species? The little critter is seen carefully making its way through the woods. Nearly blending in with his surroundings, but this isn't the scariest part. When Erwin enters this narrow cave, he gets a bit of a surprise. Something is slithering in the darkness. It doesn't quite look like a snake, but it's making its way toward Erwin, who quickly backs out of the cave in shock.
Right. There's something there. Okay,
Erwin says it's a worm of European mythology, which is described as a huge limbless, wingless dragon or sea serpent. Did this nature guide just encounter two mythological creatures in the forest? These magical surroundings sure seem like the right habitat for them. Caitlin Raquel is alone in her room when this shadow passes through her room without passing over her. Her hands are not covered by the shadow, even though it walks directly in front of her. With a Ouija board in hand, a YouTuber named Contagious Noise takes her girlfriend and her sister to an old barn that's just beyond city limits. They are positive that this barn is very haunted and therefore the perfect place to contact the other side. The group laughs and carries on playfully at first, but it isn't long before the situation grows alarmingly serious. Tell me if it really looks like the pointer is moving all by itself here.
On my grandma, I'm not doing it. Garrett?
I swear on everything. I'm not. Look at my fingers. R.
Soon they contact the spirit of a 4-year-old who could possibly be named Ryan. They are trying to ask it more questions when out of nowhere it spells out the name Grace, which is the name of one of the girls. The spirit doesn't seem to want to give any real answers. Sometimes the Ouija board simply spells letters at random. Just when they get the feeling that a spirit is messing with them, a random noise confirms their suspicions.
Or ask who the 4-year-old was. Why they're here?
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Each one of them promises that they are not playing a joke and they decide to try again. This time the Ouija board spells out a single word.
Help. Say goodbye.
This clip is making waves in the Spanish YouTube community, and it's clear to see why. This associated image was posted in July of 2020 by YouTuber Curious Area, and at first, this footage seems like nothing more than your average nighttime drive. Spooky lights, empty streets, no one around. That is, until this creepy oblong figure emerges standing on the side of the road. As the car drives slowly past, the figure doesn't move from near the crosswalk. You can't make out its face or any details of its visage, but it does appear to be wearing a long robe. Would this get your heart pumping, or are your nerves made of steel? A YouTuber named Mark Grillo catches a complete and total stranger poking around his front porch for no apparent reason. She doesn't even try to knock or anything. Take a look at what she's carrying here and tell me what you think is inside. It almost looks like it could be a cardboard container from a restaurant or something, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, you can't stand. Yeah, I can't stand.
You can't see in, the woman says twice while trying to peer through a window. Two other people stand at the bottom of the steps waiting for her, and they all walk off together. Exactly what this woman is trying to see is unknown, but it's definitely creepy how she struts around like she owns the place. The group seems to be wearing nice clothes, and I doubt she is trying to break in, especially since her hands are full, which only makes this video all the more bizarre. Overall, I have no idea what these strangers could possibly want, or why they thought this was a socially acceptable thing to do. A real demon sighting is caught on camera according to an uploader named Esoteric Boy, a dark shadow haunting his room. He lightens the photo to reveal a tall, mysterious figure with horns. Strangest of all, the alleged demon has a goat-like face and no reflection in the mirror. Considering he has editing software, I think this could possibly be photoshopped. But if not, then it's time never to go into the room again. Have you ever wondered if a ghost might appear in your next selfie? Well, this video is evidence that they're all around us at all times. The girl in the video is using a Snapchat filter, which appears to be capturing a nearby ghost. At least the filter is putting dog ears on a face that doesn't exist. The girl asks the ghost to stick its tongue out for her when she realizes there may be two spirits there as two dog filters appear in the empty space.
You want to stick your tongue out for me? Because this is pretty... Whoa. Whoa, there's two of them.
Throughout the video, one of the dog filters disappears only to reappear in a different place. The girl tells the spirits they are welcome there and just to clean up after themselves. Then the bigger ghost moves closer. She asks if it's going to stick its tongue out at her, only to have the dog disappear again. And then...
Are you just going to, no? Okay. Are you gone? Are you gonna come back?
That was a jump scare if I've ever saw one. Are these friendly ghosts or villainous pranksters? Your guess is as good as mine. All I can say for sure is that something suspicious is happening here. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.